Welcome back. Today, we explore some of the rarest and most valuable coins in the world. Today, we're diving into the world of copper wheat pennies, coins that could potentially make you rich. First up, to truly appreciate the 1947 wheat penny, we need to take a step back in time. The year 1947 was a pivotal moment in American history. World War II had ended just 2 years prior, and the United States was transitioning into a post-war economy. The country was booming, with industries shifting from wartime production to consumer goods. This era, often referred to as the Golden Age of capitalism, saw a surge in economic growth, suburbanization, and the rise of the middle class. During this time, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins to meet the demands of a growing economy. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, was still in circulation. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the wheat penny featured two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and abundance. The 1947 wheat penny was part of this iconic series, but not all 1947 pennies are created equal. The specific variety we're discussing today, the large date, no mint mark, is a standout due to its unique characteristics and the story it tells about the era in which it was minted. Now let's talk numbers. In 1947, the U.S. Mint produced over 190 million wheat pennies at the Philadelphia Mint. That might sound like a lot. But here's the catch. The majority of these coins were circulated extensively, meaning they ended up in people's pockets, cash registers, and piggy banks. Over time, many of these coins were lost, damaged, or melted down for their copper content. The large date, no mint mark variety, is particularly interesting because it was struck only at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike coins from the Denver or San Francisco mints, the Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark on its pennies during this period. This makes identifying the origin of the coin a bit trickier, but it also adds to its mystique. What makes this coin even more special is its condition. While millions were minted, finding one in scratches dots, and damage condition might seem counterintuitive to its value. But here's the twist. Collectors are often drawn to coins with unique marks or errors as they tell a story and add character to the piece. In the case of the 1947 wheat penny, certain scratches, dots, or damage patterns can actually increase its value, especially if they're rare or historically significant. The large date variety refers to the size of the numbers in the date. On some 1947 pennies, the date appears slightly larger and more pronounced than on others. This subtle difference can have a big impact on the coin's value, especially if it's paired with other unique features like scratches, dots, or damage. Now, let's get to the part you've been waiting for: the value of this coin. In today's auction market, a 1947 wheat penny in average circulated condition might fetch anywhere from $10,000. But the large date, no mint mark, in scratches, dots, and damage condition is a different story. Coins with unique marks or errors can command significantly higher prices, depending on their rarity and the demand among collectors. For example, a 1947 wheat penny with distinctive scratches or dots that tell a story, perhaps from being used in a vending machine or as part of a historical event, could sell for $18,000 or more at auction. In some cases, coins with specific types of damage, such as those caused by minting errors or environmental factors, have sold for even higher amounts. For instance, a 1947 wheat penny with a rare die crack or off-center strike could fetch $20,000 or more in the right market. The key to determining the value of your 1947 wheat penny is to have it professionally graded by a reputable coin grading service, such as Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These organizations evaluate the coin's condition, authenticity, and unique features, providing a grade that can significantly impact its market value. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the hunt for error coins. These are coins that were minted with mistakes, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or missing elements. Error coins are highly sought after by collectors because they're rare and often one of a kind. The 1947 wheat penny is no exception. While the large date, No mint mark variety is already a favorite among collectors. Finding one with a unique error or damage pattern can take its value to the next level. For example, a 1947 wheat penny with a double die obverse, where the design elements appear slightly doubled, could be worth thousands of dollars in today's market. Next up, the 1954 D wheat penny is a classic example of how a seemingly ordinary coin can become a numismatic superstar. Minted in Denver, Colorado, this penny is part of the iconic Lincoln Wheat series, which was produced from 1909 to 1958. But what makes the 1954 D large date so special? Let's break it down. The Lincoln Wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait, a bold move at the time. The obverse showcases Lincoln's profile, while the reverse features two wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity and abundance. By 1954, the U.S. was in the midst of the post-World War II economic boom. Coins were in high demand for everyday transactions, and the Denver Mint was working overtime to keep up. The 1954 D wheat penny was one of over 1.4 billion pennies minted that year, but not all were created equal. The large date variety, in particular, stands out due to its unique characteristics and relative scarcity. The Denver Mint produced a staggering 1,490,000,000 wheat pennies in 1954. However, the large date variety is significantly rarer than its small date counterpart. The large date is identified by the taller, more pronounced numbers in the date, particularly the 5 and 4. While the exact number of large date coins minted is unknown, experts estimate that only a small percentage of the total mintage falls into this category. This scarcity, combined with the coin's historical significance, makes it highly sought after by collectors. Now, let's talk numbers. In today's auction market, a 1954 D wheat penny, in good condition, can fetch anywhere $10,000. But if you're lucky enough to have a large date variety in excellent condition, the value skyrockets. For example, a 1954 D large date wheat penny, graded MS65 Mint State 65 by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC, can sell for over $26,000. In some cases, for the large date variety, pay close attention to the date. The numbers are taller and more uniform, with a distinct shape to the 5 and 4. This subtle difference is what sets the large date apart and makes it so valuable. Like many coins, the 1954 D wheat penny has its share of errors and varieties. One of the most famous is the doubled die obverse, where the date and inscriptions appear slightly doubled. These errors are rare and can significantly increase the coin's value. Another interesting variety is the re-punched mint mark, where the D mint mark was stamped more than once, creating a slightly overlapping effect. Collectors love these unique features, and they often command a premium in the market. The 1954 D wheat penny, especially the large date variety, is a favorite among collectors for several reasons. First, it's a key date in the Lincoln Wheat series, representing one of the final years of production before the switch to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. Second, its relative scarcity and unique design features make it a challenging and rewarding coin to hunt for. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, finding a 1954 D large date wheat penny in good condition is like striking gold. Finally, the coin's historical significance and connection to a pivotal era in U.S. history add to its appeal. It's not just a piece of metal, it's a piece of history. So there you have it, the 1954 D wheat penny, large date variety. This unassuming little coin is a testament to the hidden treasures that can be found in your pocket change. Whether you're a collector, an investor, or just someone who loves history, the 1954 D wheat penny is a coin worth knowing about. Next up, the 1953 D wheat penny is a fascinating piece of American numismatic history. It was minted during a time of significant change in the United States. The early 1950s were marked by post-World War II economic growth, the rise of consumer culture, and the beginning of the Cold War. Coins like the wheat penny were part of everyday life, used in transactions across the country. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it featured a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and agricultural abundance. The design remained unchanged until 1958, making the 1953 D wheat penny one of the last issues of this iconic series. The D mint mark indicates that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the four active U.S. mints at the time, the others being Philadelphia, San Francisco, and, briefly, West Point. The Denver Mint was known for producing coins in large quantities, but the 1953 D wheat penny stands out due to its relatively low mintage and the challenges of finding it in high grades today. The 1953 D wheat penny had a mintage of 700,515,000 coins. While this might seem like a large number, it's important to consider how many of these coins have survived in collectible condition. Over the decades, millions of wheat pennies were lost, melted down, or worn out in circulation. What makes the 1953 D wheat penny particularly interesting is its scarcity in higher grades. Coins from the Denver Mint often had weaker strikes due to the mint's older equipment, resulting in fewer examples with sharp details and full mint luster. As a result, finding a 1953 D wheat penny in uncirculated or mint state condition is a challenge, driving up its value among collectors. Now, let's talk numbers. The value of a 1953 D wheat penny varies significantly depending on its condition. In circulated grades, such as good, the coin is relatively common and might fetch between $7,000. However, as we move up the grading scale, the value increases dramatically. In about uncirculated condition, the coin might sell for $10,000. But here's where it gets exciting. In mint state MS condition, the 1953 D wheat penny can command impressive prices. An MS-60 graded coin might sell for $30,000, while an MS-65 could fetch $50,000 or more. Exceptional examples in MS-67 or higher have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. One of the most notable sales was a 1953 D wheat penny graded MS-67 plus red by PCGS, which sold for over $100,000 in a recent auction. The red designation indicates that the coin retains its original copper color, a key factor in determining its value. The 1953 D wheat penny features the classic design that made the series so beloved among collectors. On the obverse, you'll find Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right. The inscription "In God We Trust" appears above Lincoln's head, while Liberty is to the left and the date 1953 to the right. The mint mark D is located below the date, indicating its Denver origin. One of the key factors that determine the value of a 1953 D wheat penny is the strength of the strike. Coins with full details on Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat, as well as sharp wheat stalks, are highly desirable. Weak strikes, which are common for this issue, can significantly reduce the coin's appeal and value. While the 1953 D wheat penny is not known for major errors, there are a few varieties that collectors should be aware of. One of the most notable is the repunched mint mark RPM variety. This occurs when the mint mark is punched into the die more than once, resulting in a slightly doubled or overlapping appearance. RPM varieties can add a premium to the coin's value, especially if they are well documented and sought after by specialists. Another variety to look for is the double die obverse DDO. While no major DDO varieties are known for the 1953 D wheat penny, minor doubling can sometimes be found on the date or inscriptions. These coins are rare and can command higher prices if authenticated by a reputable grading service. The 1953 D wheat penny is a favorite among collectors for several reasons. First, it's part of the beloved wheat penny series, which holds a special place in the hearts of numismatists. Second, its relative scarcity in high grades makes it a challenging and rewarding coin to pursue. Many collectors aim to complete a set of wheat pennies by date and mint mark, and the 1953 D is a key piece of that puzzle. Others focus on building a registry set of high-grade examples, competing for the finest known specimens. For beginners, the 1953 D wheat penny is an accessible entry point into the world of coin collecting. Circulated examples are affordable and widely available, making it easy to start a collection. Next up, to truly appreciate the 1944 wheat penny, we need to travel back in time to the early 1940s. The United States was deeply entrenched in World War II, and the war effort demanded vast resources, including metals like copper. In 1943, the U.S. Mint made a drastic change to the composition of the penny, replacing copper with zinc-coated steel to conserve copper for ammunition and other military supplies. These steel pennies are often referred to as steelies and are a fascinating chapter in U.S. coinage history. However, by 1944, the Mint had secured enough copper to return to the traditional composition. This led to the production of the 1944 wheat penny, which was struck in 95% copper and 5% zinc. But here's where things get interesting. Due to leftover steel planchets from 1943, a small number of 1944 pennies were mistakenly struck on steel planchets, creating one of the most famous error coins in U.S. history. While the steel 1944 penny is incredibly rare, the 1944 copper penny is also highly valuable, especially in pristine condition and with specific varieties like the large date, no mint mark now. Let's talk numbers. In 1944, the U.S. Mint produced over 1.4 billion pennies across 3 mints: Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck more than 1 billion pennies that year. While this might make the 1944 wheat penny seem common, the key to its value lies in its condition and specific varieties. The large date, no mint mark variety is particularly sought after because of its distinct design features and relative scarcity in high grades. Most 1944 pennies circulated extensively, meaning finding one in mint state condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. And when you do, the value can be staggering. What sets the large date variety apart is the size and shape of the date. The 4s in 1944 have a more pronounced serif, and the overall date appears larger and bolder compared to the small date variety. This subtle difference makes the large date variety highly desirable among collectors. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for: the value. The 1944 wheat penny, especially the large date, no mint mark variety, can fetch a pretty penny, pun intended, in today's market. But here's the catch. The value depends heavily on the coin's condition. A typical circulated 1944 wheat penny might be worth a few dollars, but a mint state example can easily sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For instance, a 1944 wheat penny graded MS67 by PCGS Professional Coin Grading Service sold for over $13,000 at auction. And if you're lucky enough to find one in MS68 or higher, you could be looking at a 6-figure payday. The key to maximizing value is ensuring the coin is free from scratches, dots, or other damage. Collectors and investors are willing to pay a premium for coins in pristine condition, so if you have a 1944 wheat penny, it's worth getting it professionally graded. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1944 wheat penny is the potential for error coins. As mentioned earlier, a small number of 1944 pennies were struck on steel planchets intended for 1943 pennies. These error coins are incredibly rare and can sell for $20,000s. Another notable error is the 1944 D/S variety, where the Denver Mint overpunched an S mint mark with a D. These overpunched mint marks are highly collectible and can significantly increase a coin's value. Collectors are also drawn to the 1944 wheat penny because of its historical significance. It represents a pivotal moment in U.S. history, bridging the gap between the wartime steel pennies and the return to traditional coinage. For many, owning a 1944 wheat penny is like holding a piece of history in their hands. Next up, the 1952 D wheat penny. This coin is a numismatic legend, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why collectors are willing to pay top dollar for it. We'll explore its historical context, mintage details, design features, the famous error, and why it's so highly sought after. Let's begin. The 1952-D. Wheat penny was minted during a pivotal time in American history. The early 1950s were marked by post-World War II recovery, the rise of the Cold War, and the beginning of the Korean War. The U.S. economy was booming, and the demand for coins was high. The Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities producing pennies, was working at full capacity to meet this demand. The Denver Mint, established in 1906, was responsible for producing coins with the D mint mark. In 1952, it struck over 746 million wheat pennies. While this might sound like a lot, the combination of high circulation and the rarity of certain errors makes the 1952 D wheat penny a standout in the numismatic world. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1952 D wheat penny so special? Well, it's not just the year or the mint mark, it's the unique error that occurred during production. But before we get into that, let's talk about the coin's design and mintage details. The 1952 D wheat penny features the classic design that was used from 1909 to 1958. The obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, showcases a profile of President Abraham Lincoln with the words, "In God, we trust," above his head, and "Liberty," to the left. The year 1952 is inscribed to the right, and the mint mark D is located below the date. In 1952, the Denver Mint produced 746,130,000 wheat pennies. While this seems like a massive number, the survival rate of these coins in high grades is surprisingly low. Most were heavily circulated, and finding one in pristine condition is a challenge. But what truly sets the 1952 D wheat penny apart is the rare error that occurred during minting. The 1952-D wheat penny is famous for its repunched mint mark RPM error. This occurs when the mint mark is stamped more than once, causing a slight doubling or overlapping effect. In the case of the 1952-D, the D mint mark was punched into the die twice, creating a distinctive error that's visible under magnification. During the minting process, a worker would manually punch the mint mark into the die. If the punch wasn't aligned correctly the first time, it would be repositioned and struck again. This resulted in a repunched mint mark, which is now a highly collectible variety. Not all 1952 D wheat pennies have this error, and even fewer have survived in circulated condition. This rarity, combined with the historical significance of the coin, makes it a prized possession for collectors. So, how much is a 1952 D wheat penny with the RPM error worth? In today's auction market, the value can range from thousands of dollars to several thousand, depending on the coin's condition. For example, a circulated example might sell for $32,000, while an uncirculated specimen could fetch $50,000 or more. One of the reasons this coin is so valuable is its popularity among collectors. The 1952 D wheat penny is a key date in the Lincoln Wheat series, and the RPM error adds an extra layer of intrigue. Collectors are always on the lookout for this coin, especially in higher grades. If you think you might have a 1952 D wheat penny, it's essential to have it authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. The grade can significantly impact the coin's value, so it's worth the investment. Now let's talk about how to identify a 1952 D wheat penny with the RPM error. First, you'll need a magnifying glass or a loupe to examine the mint mark closely. Look for any signs of doubling or overlapping in the D. If you're unsure, consider consulting a coin expert or submitting it for professional grading. Another tip is to check the overall condition of the coin. Look for wear on Lincoln's cheek and the wheat stalks on the reverse. The less wear, the higher the potential value. Remember, even circulated examples can be valuable if they have the RPM error. The 1952 D wheat penny has made headlines in the numismatic world. In 2019, an uncirculated example with the RPM error sold for over $100,000 at auction. Stories like these fuel the excitement around this coin and inspire collectors to search for their own hidden treasures. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the possibility of finding something rare and valuable in your own collection. The 1952-D wheat penny is a perfect example of how a simple error can turn an ordinary coin into a numismatic gem. Next up, the year is 1945. World War II is coming to an end, and the United States is in the midst of a transformative era. The war effort had a profound impact on every aspect of American life, including coin production. During this time, the U.S. Mint was focused on supporting the war by conserving resources. Copper, a key component of pennies, was in high demand for ammunition and other military supplies. In 1943, the Mint even switched to making pennies out of zinc-coated steel to save copper. But by 1945, copper was once again being used for pennies, though in limited quantities. This makes the 1945 wheat penny a fascinating piece of history, a coin that symbolizes the end of one era and the beginning of another. Now let's talk about why this specific coin, the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark, is so special. First, it's important to understand that pennies minted in Philadelphia during this time didn't carry a mint mark. So if you find a 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark, it was made in Philadelphia, the main U.S. Mint facility. In 1945, the Philadelphia Mint produced a staggering 1,040,515,000 wheat pennies. That's over a billion coins. But don't let that number fool you. While the mintage was high, the survival rate of these coins in fine condition is surprisingly low. Most of these pennies were circulated extensively, meaning they were used in everyday transactions and subjected to wear and tear. As a result, finding a 1945 wheat penny in fine condition with clear details and minimal damage is quite rare. And rarity, as we know, drives value in the coin collecting world. Fine condition, or F grade, means the coin shows moderate wear but still retains most of its design details. For the 1945 wheat penny, this includes visible wheat stalks on the reverse and Lincoln's profile on the obverse. Coins in this condition are highly sought after by collectors, especially if they've been well preserved over the decades. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for, the value. In today's auction market, a 1945 wheat penny in fine condition can fetch anywhere from $46,000 to $57,000, depending on its exact grade and eye appeal. But wait, there's more. If you happen to find one in uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used and looks almost brand new, the value skyrockets. Uncirculated 1945 wheat pennies have sold for upwards of $60,000 at auction. Of course, the value also depends on factors like luster, strike quality, and whether the coin has been professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. But even in fine condition, this coin is a true gem for any collector. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1945 wheat penny. The obverse features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design has been a staple of the penny since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. One thing to look for is the sharpness of the details. In fine condition, you should still be able to see the lines in Lincoln's coat and the individual grains on the wheat stalks. These details are crucial for determining the coin's grade and, ultimately, its value. Now, let's talk about errors and varieties. While the 1945 wheat penny isn't known for a lot of major errors, there are a few things to watch out for. One of the most notable is the repunched mint mark variety. However, since the Philadelphia Mint didn't use mint marks in 1945, this variety applies to coins from other mints, like Denver or San Francisco. Another thing to look for is doubling on the date or lettering. While these errors are rare, they can significantly increase the coin's value. Always examine your 1945 wheat pennies closely. You never know what hidden treasures you might find. So why are collectors so obsessed with the 1945 wheat penny? For starters, it's a piece of history. This coin was minted during a pivotal moment in American history, and owning one is like holding a piece of the past in your hands. Additionally, the 1945 wheat penny is part of the larger wheat penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. Many collectors aim to complete a full set of wheat pennies, and the 1945 issue is a key date due to its historical significance and relative scarcity in higher grades. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1945 wheat penny is a coin that deserves a place in your collection. And who knows, you might already have one sitting in your pocket change or an old coin jar. Next up, the 1942 D wheat penny is a product of its time, minted during one of the most pivotal periods in modern history, World War II. The United States had entered the war in December 1941 after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and the nation was fully mobilized for the war effort. This had a profound impact on coin production, as resources like copper were redirected toward the war. In 1942, the U.S. Mint faced a critical decision: continue producing pennies with their traditional copper composition, or find an alternative metal to conserve resources. Initially, the 1942 pennies were struck in the same 95% copper, 5% zinc, and tin alloy used since 1909. However, by the end of the year, the mint transitioned to a zinc-coated steel composition for 1943 pennies. This makes the 1942 D wheat penny one of the last traditionally composed Lincoln cents before the wartime changes. The D mint mark indicates that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the three active mints at the time, the others being Philadelphia and San Francisco. The Denver Mint played a crucial role in producing coins for circulation, and its output during this period is highly collectible. The 1942 D wheat penny had a mintage of 206,698,000 coins. While this might seem like a large number, the survival rate of high-quality specimens is surprisingly low. Many of these pennies were heavily circulated during the war years, and others were melted down for their copper content in later decades. What makes the 1942 D wheat penny particularly valuable is its condition. Coins in fine condition or better are increasingly hard to find, and those in mint state grades are exceptionally rare. Collectors prize these coins for their historical significance and their place in the transition to wartime coinage. The value of a 1942 D wheat penny varies significantly based on its condition. In fine F condition, where the coin shows moderate wear but retains most of its design details, the value typically ranges from $16,000. However, as the grade increases, so does the price. In about uncirculated condition, prices range from $18,000. In mint state MS grades, the value skyrockets. A 1942 D wheat penny, in mint state 63, can sell for $22,000. The real jackpot, however, lies in error coins and exceptional specimens. For instance, a 1942 D wheat penny with a doubled die obverse DDO error can be worth thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the doubling and its overall condition. The 1942 D wheat penny features the classic design by Victor David Brenner, which was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The obverse front of the coin depicts a profile of Lincoln facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust Liberty," and the year 1942. The mint mark D is located below the date, indicating its Denver origin. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1942 D wheat penny is the potential for errors and varieties. These anomalies can significantly increase the coin's value and make it a centerpiece of any collection. This error occurs when the die used to strike the coin is engraved with a doubled image, resulting in a noticeable doubling of the date, inscriptions, or Lincoln's profile. The 1942 DDDO is highly sought after and can fetch thousands of dollars in higher grades. This variety occurs when the mint mark is punched into the die more than once, creating a slight overlapping effect. RPM varieties are popular among collectors and can add a premium to the coin's value. Coins that are struck off-center can also be valuable, depending on the severity of the misalignment. The 1942 D wheat penny holds a special place in the hearts of collectors for several reasons. First, it represents the end of an era in U.S. coinage, as it was one of the last pennies struck in the traditional copper alloy before the switch to steel. Second, its connection to World War II adds a layer of historical significance that appeals to both coin enthusiasts and history buffs. Collectors often seek out the 1942 D wheat penny to complete their sets of Lincoln cents or wheat pennies. High-grade examples are particularly desirable, as they are increasingly difficult to find. Error coins, such as the DDO and RPM varieties, are also highly prized and can command significant premiums at auction. For those new to coin collecting, the 1942 D wheat penny is an excellent entry point. It's relatively affordable in lower grades but offers the potential for substantial returns if you're lucky enough to find a high-grade or error specimens. Next up, to truly appreciate the 1938 D Lincoln wheat penny, we need to travel back in time to the late 1930s. The United States was still recovering from the Great Depression, and the economy was slowly stabilizing. The Lincoln wheat penny, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had become a staple of American currency. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin featured a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and agricultural abundance. The Denver Mint, established in 1906, was known for its high-quality coin production. However, 1938 was a unique year for the Denver Mint. Due to lower demand for coins during the economic downturn, the mint produced fewer pennies than usual. This lower mintage, combined with the passage of time, has made the 1938 D Lincoln wheat penny a rare and highly collectible coin. So, just how rare is the 1938 D Lincoln wheat penny? Let's break it down. In 1938, the Denver Mint produced only 20,010,000 pennies. While that might sound like a lot, consider this. Many of these coins were circulated extensively, leading to significant wear and tear. Over the decades, countless 1938 D pennies were lost, melted down, or simply discarded. Today, finding one in pristine condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. To put it into perspective, the 1938 D Lincoln wheat penny is one of the key dates in the wheat penny series. Its low mintage and survival rate make it a standout among collectors. In fact, it's often referred to as a semi-key date, meaning it's not as rare as the 1909 SVDB or the 1914 D, but it's still a significant coin that commands attention, and a high price, in the numismatic market host. Now, let's talk numbers. The value of a 1938 D Lincoln wheat penny can vary widely depending on its condition. In circulated grades, such as good or very good, you might expect to pay anywhere $66,000. However, as we move up the grading scale, the value increases dramatically. For example, a 1938 D penny in extremely fine condition can fetch between $68,000. In about uncirculated condition, the price jumps to around $57,000. But here's where it gets exciting in mint state. MS60 and above, the 1938 D Lincoln wheat penny can sell for hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. In recent auctions, a 1938 D penny graded MS65 red, indicating full original mint luster and no signs of wear, sold for $75,000. One of the reasons the 1938 D Lincoln wheat penny is so beloved by collectors is its classic design. Let's take a closer look at its features. On the obverse, we see Victor Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln. This design has remained largely unchanged since its introduction in 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. While the 1938 D Lincoln wheat penny is already a rare and valuable coin, certain errors and varieties can make it even more desirable. One of the most notable varieties is the 1938 DS over mint mark. This occurs when a coin is struck with a D mint mark over an S mint mark, indicating that a die originally intended for the San Francisco Mint was repurposed for use in Denver. These over mint mark coins are extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. In fact, a 1938 D/S penny in mint state condition can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. Other errors, such as doubled dies or repunched mint marks, can also add significant value to a 1938 D Lincoln wheat penny. If you think you've found one of these rare varieties, it's essential to have it authenticated by a reputable grading service, such as PCGS or NGC. These organizations can verify the coin's authenticity and assign it a grade, which will ultimately determine its market value. The 1938 D Lincoln Wheat penny holds a special place in the hearts of coin collectors. For many, it represents a tangible piece of American history, a reminder of a time when the nation was rebuilding itself after the Great Depression. Its rarity and historical significance make it a must-have for anyone building a complete set of Lincoln Wheat pennies. But the appeal of the 1938 D penny goes beyond its historical context. For some collectors, the thrill of the hunt is what drives their passion. Searching through rolls of old pennies hoping to find that elusive 1938 D is a rewarding experience in itself. And for others, the coin's aesthetic beauty and intricate design are what make it so captivating. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a beginner, the 1938 D Lincoln Wheat penny is a coin that deserves a spot in your collection. Its combination of rarity, history, and beauty makes it a true numismatic treasure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Valuable Coins for more numismatic adventures.